Welcome back to Speak English Fluently. Today, James and I are talking about something that affects many people every night. It is overthinking. Many people feel very tired at the end of the day, but when they finally go to bed, their minds suddenly become active. They close their eyes, but instead of sleeping, they start thinking about old mistakes, future problems, money, work, relationships, and many other things.
Yes, that happens because the night is quiet. During the day, people stay busy with work, family, school, traffic, phones, and many small activities. But at night, everything becomes silent. There are fewer distractions, so the mind suddenly has more space to think. A person may start with one small thought, but after a few minutes, that one thought can become many different worries.
I think that is why many people feel frustrated at night. They want to sleep because they are tired, but they cannot stop thinking. They may think about an unfinished task, a mistake they made during the day, or a conversation that did not go well. Then their minds keep going from one topic to another without stopping.
That is very true. Sometimes people think about one small mistake, and then they suddenly remember many other mistakes from the past. They start thinking about things they wish they had said, things they wish they had done differently, or opportunities they missed. It becomes very difficult for them to stay calm because they are carrying too many thoughts at the same time.
I think many people overthink because they want control. They want to know exactly what will happen tomorrow, next week, or next year. They do not like uncertainty because uncertainty makes people feel uncomfortable. So instead of resting, they keep thinking about every possible problem that could happen in the future.
Yes, and the strange thing is that people usually imagine the worst situations. They do not think, maybe tomorrow will be a good day. Instead, they think, what if something goes wrong? They prepare themselves for problems that may never happen. That is why overthinking feels exhausting. The mind stays busy, but it is not solving anything.
I have noticed that late at night, even very small problems can suddenly feel huge. A small money problem can feel impossible to fix. A small argument can feel like the end of a relationship. A short conversation can feel embarrassing for hours. People become much more emotional when they are tired.
Exactly. Tired minds create bigger fears. That is why people should not trust every thought they have at midnight. Sometimes the mind is simply tired and overwhelmed. When people are tired, they do not think clearly. That is why many problems that feel huge at night suddenly feel much smaller in the morning.
I have experienced that many times. Something can feel impossible at night, but after sleeping, I realized that it was not as serious as I thought. Sleep changes the way people see things. A calm mind can think much more clearly than a tired mind.
That is a very important point because many people try to solve every problem before sleeping. They feel like they must find all the answers immediately. But night is not the best time to solve serious problems. Night is for resting. Tomorrow is a better time for making decisions and finding solutions.
I think people also compare themselves too much at night. They start thinking about other people's lives. They think about people who have more money, better jobs, better relationships, or more success. Then they start feeling like they are behind in life.
Yes, comparison makes overthinking much worse. People forget that everyone has different struggles and different timing. Someone may look happy on the outside, but they may still have problems that nobody knows about. Comparing your life to other people only creates more pressure and sadness.
Social media also makes this problem worse because people spend so much time looking at other people's lives before sleeping. They see perfect pictures, expensive things, vacations, and happy moments. Then they start thinking that their own lives are not good enough.
That is very true. But people need to remember that social media usually shows only the best parts of someone's life. It does not show the stress, sadness, fear, or struggles behind the picture. People should not compare their real lives to someone else's perfect photo.
I think another reason people overthink is because they're afraid of making mistakes. They want everything to be perfect. They want to say the right thing, do the right thing, and make the right decision every time.
Yes, perfection creates pressure. Nobody can be perfect all the time. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone says things they regret sometimes. Everyone has problems. Life becomes easier when people accept that they do not need to be perfect.
That is a very important lesson because many people are too hard on themselves. They blame themselves for everything. They think about every mistake again and again.
But being hard on yourself does not solve problems. It only creates more pain. People should speak to themselves like they speak to a close friend. They should be kinder, calmer, and more patient with themselves.
I think people should remind themselves that not every thought deserves attention. Some thoughts are helpful, but many thoughts are only fear.
Exactly. People do not need to believe every negative thought that enters their minds. They can stop and ask themselves, is this thought really true? Or am I just tired and afraid? That question can help people think more clearly.
So maybe the first lesson is simple. People do not need to solve everything tonight. They do not need to carry the weight of the whole world before sleeping.
Yes, most problems can wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow usually feels much easier when the mind is calm and rested.
Thank you for listening to part 1 of this conversation. In part 2, James and I will talk about practical ways to stop overthinking before sleeping.
We will share simple habits, routines, and techniques that can help people relax their minds and sleep more peacefully.
Welcome back. In part 1, James and I talked about why people overthink at night and why problems often feel bigger when the mind is tired. Now, we're going to talk about practical things people can do if they want to stop overthinking before sleeping.
Yes, because many people know they overthink, but they do not know how to stop. They lie in bed, keep changing positions, look at the clock again and again, and become more frustrated because they still cannot sleep.
I think one of the first things people should do is create a simple night routine. When people do the same calming activities every night, the mind slowly understands that it is time to rest.
That is very true. Without a routine, the brain stays active because it does not know when to relax. But when people follow the same routine every night, their minds and bodies slowly become calmer.
I think phones are one of the biggest reasons people overthink before sleeping. Many people stay on social media, watch videos, read comments, and keep checking messages until the last minute.
Yes, and that makes the problem worse. Phones keep the brain active. Social media creates comparison, stress, and fear. People see perfect photos, expensive things, and successful lives, and then they start feeling like they are behind in life.
That is why it is helpful to stop using the phone at least 30 minutes before sleeping. People can use that time to relax instead of filling their minds with more information.
Exactly. They can sit quietly, listen to soft music, read a book, or just rest without looking at a screen. Even 30 minutes without a phone can make a big difference.
Another helpful thing is writing thoughts in a notebook. I think many people keep all their worries inside their heads, and that makes everything feel heavier.
Writing is very powerful because it helps people take thoughts out of their minds. They can write what is worrying them, what they need to do tomorrow, and what they cannot control right now.
That sounds helpful because once thoughts are written down, people do not need to keep repeating them again and again.
Exactly. Writing gives the mind permission to rest. People can tell themselves, I have written it down and I can think about it tomorrow.
I have also heard that breathing slowly can help when someone feels anxious at night. Many people do not realize that when they are stressed, they start breathing faster.
Yes, slow breathing is very important. When people breathe slowly, the body starts to feel safer and calmer. The mind also becomes quieter because the body is no longer in panic mode.
One simple method is breathing in slowly for 4 seconds, holding the breath for 4 seconds, and then breathing out slowly.
Yes, and people can repeat that for a few minutes. It may sound simple, but it can make a big difference when someone feels anxious or stressed.
Peaceful sounds can also help. Some people like soft music, rain sounds, ocean sounds, or calm podcasts.
That is true because complete silence can sometimes make thoughts louder. Soft sounds can make people feel safer and more relaxed.
I think people should also make their bedrooms feel peaceful. If the room is too bright, too noisy, or too messy, it can make the mind feel uncomfortable.
Yes, a peaceful room can help people sleep better. Soft lighting, clean sheets, a comfortable pillow, and a quiet space can all help the mind relax.
Another important thing is avoiding too much caffeine at night. Many people drink tea, coffee, or energy drinks in the evening and then wonder why they cannot sleep.
Yes, caffeine keeps the brain active for many hours. If someone already struggles with overthinking, caffeine can make it even worse.
I think people should also avoid having very serious conversations right before sleeping. If someone argues with a family member or watches stressful news at night, it can stay in their mind for hours.
That is very true. The mind needs peaceful things before sleep, not more stress. People should try to protect their peace during the last hour of the day.
Sometimes people feel guilty for resting. They think they should keep working, keep worrying, or keep doing something useful.
But rest is useful. Rest gives energy to the body and mind. Without rest, people become weaker, more emotional, and more stressed.
I think that is something many people forget. They think rest is laziness, but it is not.
Exactly. Rest is necessary. A tired mind cannot think clearly. A tired mind only creates bigger fears.
So maybe people need to stop trying to control everything before sleeping.
Yes, because nobody can solve their whole life in one night. People only need to take one step at a time.
And maybe they should remind themselves that tomorrow is another day.
Exactly. Most problems look smaller after rest. Calm minds create better solutions.
Thank you for listening to part 2 of this conversation. In part 3, James and I will talk about mindset, self-talk, and how to stay calm when overthinking becomes very strong.
We will also talk about how people can be kinder to themselves and stop believing every negative thought they have at night.
Welcome back. In part 3, James and I are going to talk about mindset, self-talk, and how people can stay calm when overthinking becomes very strong. Sometimes people know they're overthinking, but they still cannot stop because their minds feel too full.
Yes, and when people overthink for a long time, they often start believing every negative thought that comes into their minds. They think every fear is true, every worry is real, and every bad possibility will happen.
But not every thought is true. Sometimes people are simply tired, stressed, or emotional. When people are exhausted, their minds do not think clearly.
That is very important to remember because many people trust their late-night thoughts too much. They forget that a tired mind can make small problems feel much bigger than they really are.
I think one of the most helpful things people can do is ask themselves a simple question. They can ask, is this thought really true, or am I just tired and afraid right now?
Yes, because that question helps people slow down and think more clearly. Instead of immediately believing every fear, they can stop for a moment and look at the situation in a calmer way.
I think people should also remember that thoughts are temporary. A bad thought can feel very strong in the moment, but it will not stay forever.
That is true. Feelings are temporary too. Someone may feel sad, stressed, or afraid tonight, but that feeling can change tomorrow. A bad night does not mean a bad life.
I think many people forget that. When they feel bad, they think the feeling will stay forever.
Yes, but feelings always change. Problems change, situations change, and people change too. That is why people should not lose hope during one difficult night.
Another important thing is learning how to speak kindly to yourself. Many people are much harder on themselves than they are on other people.
Exactly. People often say very negative things to themselves. They say, I am not good enough, I always fail, or I will never be happy. But they would never speak that way to a close friend.
That is very true. If a friend was feeling stressed, most people would say something kind and supportive.
Yes, they would say, you are doing your best, you will be okay, or tomorrow will be better. People need to start speaking to themselves with that same kindness.
I think one powerful sentence people can say is, I do not need to fix everything tonight.
That is a beautiful sentence because it reminds people that they do not need all the answers right now. Most problems can wait until tomorrow.
Another helpful sentence is, I am safe, I can rest, and I will handle this tomorrow.
Yes, because those words help people feel calmer. They remind the mind that it does not need to stay in panic mode all night.
I think people also need to forgive themselves more. Many people spend hours thinking about mistakes they made years ago.
That is true. They replay old conversations, old decisions, and old regrets again and again. But the past cannot be changed.
People can learn from the past, but they do not need to punish themselves forever.
Exactly. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone says things they regret sometimes. Everyone has embarrassing moments. That is part of being human.
I think perfection is another big problem. Many people want to be perfect, and when they are not perfect, they become very disappointed in themselves.
Yes, perfection creates pressure. Nobody can be perfect all the time. Life becomes easier when people accept that being imperfect is normal.
I think people should focus more on progress instead of perfection.
That is a great point. Even small progress is still progress. People do not need to change their whole lives in one night.
They only need to take one small step at a time.
Exactly. Small steps are easier, less stressful, and more realistic.
So if someone is lying in bed tonight and overthinking, what should they remember?
They should remember that not every thought is true. They should remember that they are tired, and tired minds create bigger fears.
They should also remember that tomorrow is another day.
Yes, most problems look smaller after rest. Calm minds create better solutions.
They do not need to solve everything tonight.
They only need enough peace to sleep.
Thank you for listening to this conversation.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe.
And remember, be kind to yourself and give your mind time to rest.
See you in the next conversation.